Hey folks, welcome back to Indaba Africa. Once again, this is Chris, and today's topic is South Africa's alcohol ban, or should I say the African National Congress's alcohol ban. Paternalism run amok on the southern tip of Africa. Let's talk about what's been going on and where we find ourselves now in the midst of the Wuhan coronavirus COVID-19 lockdown, the extreme lockdown that's been taking place in South Africa, and the impact on industry across the country. On the 12th of July, President Cyril Ramaphosa imposed a second ban on alcohol sales as a result of a so-called spike in alcohol-related trauma incidents to prevent hospitals from being burdened by what officials claim were avoidable alcohol-related injuries. Now, the alcohol ban came just weeks after another 3-month ban had been lifted to prevent drunk driving, fighting, cut domestic violence, and eliminate weekend binge drinking. Doctors and police both agree that the previous ban did contribute to curbing hospital visits, and experts also claim the current alcohol ban and the evening curfew currently in place from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. may have been successful in relieving stress in the country's hospitals. Okay, but at what cost to South Africa's economy, to the treasury, and to the livelihoods of ordinary South Africans? Do fewer alcohol-related injuries warrant the economic carnage underway in South Africa? To quote Dr. Glenda Gray, South Africa Medical Research Council president and member of a COVID-19 Ministerial Advisory Committee, we always looked at this as an interim or temporary ban, and the government must respond to the data. But it's not responding to the data. So what has the ban done to South Africa's economy, ladies and gentlemen? Well, industry estimates show that South Africa's treasury is losing 206 million rand or $12 million in taxes every single day under the alcohol ban. That's equivalent, ladies and gentlemen, of 1,000 teacher salaries for an entire year. Think about that. In the course of 1 week, the South African treasury loses tax revenue from the sale of alcohol alone that could pay for the salaries of 7,000 teachers each week. 28,000 teacher salaries in the course of a month could be paid for with the taxes lost from this ban alone. It's mind-boggling. I'm gobsmacked at the stupidity, the level of idiocy going on here. Now, the ban has also forced Heineken, Dutch brewer Heineken, to drop plans to build a 6 billion rand or $354 million brewery in KwaZulu-Natal. Let me say that again. Heineken has now abandoned plans to build a 6 billion rand or $354 million brewery in KwaZulu-Natal. The glass container industry, which supports 26,300 jobs, is burning through 8 million rand per day or $470,000 just to keep its furnaces burning, because once you shut them down, it's a complicated process where you get them going again. The alcohol industry makes up 82% of the business for the glass container industry. 26,300 more jobs currently at risk. To date, the industry has already shed 118,000 jobs. Projections show that a 9-week ban will now cost another 84,000 jobs and 15.5 billion rand in GDP, or $912 million for a 9-week ban. And this is according to Richard Rushton, who's the CEO of Distill, which makes wine, spirits, and ciders with popular brands like Hunter's, Savannah, Nederburg, and Richelieu. To quote Richard Rushton, "We have to ask whether an outright ban on alcohol sales can be justified when the damage outweighs the benefits and there are smarter ways to achieve the same objectives. Indeed, one has to begin to ask itself, what is the goal here? What is the African National Congress's National Coronavirus Command Council up to? Are they this inept? Are they this stupid? Or are they simply this callous and uncaring about the livelihoods of hundreds of thousands of South Africans who must feed their families? Businesses that could go under, that have gone under. What is the outcome? How many hospital visits have been saved or prevented as a consequence of the alcohol ban? Do we even know? And the carnage doesn't end there, ladies and gentlemen. It's not simply 118,000 jobs, 206 million rand per day in tax revenue lost. The loss of a Heineken brewery, 6 billion rand in foreign direct investment. 26,300 additional jobs in the glass container industry. It's not just those losses at hand. Now, one of South Africa's iconic brands, one of its biggest businesses, South African Breweries, is also adding to the misery. South African Breweries said on the 3rd of August, that was yesterday, that it's now canceling a 5 billion rand or $290 million planned investments as a result of the revenue losses sustained during the 3-month ban that just occurred. Not even talking about the current ban. The other half of this investment is now under consideration for cancellation as well. The cancellation of this planned expenditure is a direct consequence of having lost 12 full trading weeks, which effectively equates to some 30% of South African Breweries' annual production, SAB Vice President of Finance Andrew Murray. What is going on here? What are these people up to? Is there not a smarter way to address the concerns? Is there not a better way to deal with the consequences of this pandemic? Or is the objective of the African National Congress to simply destroy South Africa's economy and leave all its citizens destitute and in poverty? I can't for the life of me imagine that's actually their goal. So what this comes down to is paternalism run amok. You see, ladies and gentlemen, only the anointed cadres from the African National Congress know best. Only they can decide from on high at the National Coronavirus Command Council what happens in South Africa, who gets what not. Paternalism run amok. If only all of those people were literate, lucid, cogent, capable of analytical thought or analysis. But instead we have people like the Minister of Trade, Ibrahim Patel, who bans the sale of open-toed shoes. Because we all know that the primary vector for catching this virus is open-toed shoes. That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently millions of people are susceptible to COVID-19 because of open-toed shoes. Or the wonderful ban on e-commerce. Because in the words of Minister Ibrahim Patel, it's unfair for e-commerce to continue when bricks and mortars businesses must be shut down. Well, they didn't have to be shut down. That was a decision reached by an undemocratic, unelected, unaccountable, capricious body of ANC cabinet ministers that make up the National Coronavirus Command Council. That wasn't necessary. But even if it was necessary, 26 years after the arrival of the first graphics-based browser and the dawn of the World Wide Web, if a bricks and mortar retailer has failed to develop an online presence, well, that's their problem. That's strategic failure. Why make South Africans suffer? Now, there are other ways to deal with this, ladies and gentlemen, better ways potentially to deal with this. Let's listen to Professor Charles Perry of the South African Medical Research Council, who says the following. Other ways to deal with the alcohol ban, with the concerns about hospital visits related to drink driving, drunken fighting, domestic violence, and other concerns around alcohol, binge drinking as well. Professor Charles Perry says that there could be additional taxes on beer and spirits. While I'm not a fan of that, at least makes more sense in the current situation, as well as the introduction of further such as increasing the legal drinking age to 19. There you go. Not in favor of that. I had the misfortune being 18, and my birthday was December. The election was in November, and voters voted to raise the drinking age when I was a young man. So I empathize. But that would have an effect. Or to restrict the amount of alcohol that may be purchased, where it can be consumed, and the hours it's available for sale. These are reasonable ideas. These are cogent thoughts about how to address alcohol during this pandemic. But the wanton callousness of the National Coronavirus Command Council and the African National Congress itself, alcohol, knowing full well that there are alcoholics in South Africa who will not have any recourse but to skirt the ban or drink dangerous substances as a consequence of not being able to purchase legal alcohol. Throw that aside, the callousness. What about the outright disregard for the economic well-being of South Africa? This is utter insanity, ladies and gentlemen. How do such people rise to positions of prominence in governance? The voters in South Africa need to take a very close look at who they're voting for, because clearly the people running this party don't know what they're doing, don't care about South Africa, and could care less about the collapse of South Africa's economy. They offer no scientific evidence to prove their decisions have made any difference. What do we see now in the alcohol-related sector? And I have not even addressed the wine, which has been crippled by these nonsensical bans as well. Even stupid things. When they banned the consumption and sale of alcohol in South Africa, they banned the movement of alcohol. So wine producers could not ship wine out of South Africa, which damaged their reputation with foreign suppliers in foreign markets, a reputation that may not be something they can recover anytime soon. No concept of strategic thinking, no long-term consequences. In the meantime, the IMF has given South Africa's ruling ANC $4.3 billion of virtually no interest, low interest loan. The African Development Bank on the 22nd of July gave them $288 million more, as well as the new development bank, BRICS Bank, gave them an additional $1 billion. So over $5.5 billion has been poured into South Africa in low interest or no interest loans in the last month, while the government wastes billions of rands of tax revenue every single day by banning alcohol sales with no basis for doing it and no statistics to prove the value of doing it. They did it because they can, or at least they believe they can, through their undemocratic, unelected, unaccountable, capricious national coronavirus campaign. Ladies and gentlemen, this is absolute insanity. South Africa is on the verge of total economic collapse. Why? Because South Africans are lazy? No. Because of white monopoly capital? No. Because of bad luck? No. The South African economy is on the verge of collapse because of malgovernance by the African National Congress, with its broad-based black economic empowerment, which is race-based discrimination hurting all South Africans, its threats of expropriation of property without compensation with an amendment to the Constitution, frightening away foreign direct investment and making people offshore resources, and now its ineffectual, its nonsensical, and its clueless response to the COVID-19 pandemic. God save South Africa. We're in this with you. We hope that you can hang in there, folks. This insanity must end. Folks, if you enjoyed this video or found it at least a bit informative or thought-provoking or maybe provocative, and you're not a subscriber to Chris Wyatt Africa, I ask that you take a moment and smash that subscription button right down there, become a subscriber, and be sure to toggle the bell icon so that you get notified of updates for future videos, live streams, and special features. If you want to leave a comment, please leave a comment. I do my best to read all comments, and where appropriate, I'll respond. And finally, I ask that you smash the like button down there because that makes a difference. The more likes as a percentage of views, the more likely it is that YouTube will promote this video, at least until they start shadow banning. Just kidding about that one. Folks, thank you for your tuning in. Thank you for your patronage, for your patience, and have a pleasant day.